Hello and welcome to Dariostabletop, and today it's Sharp Practice, my first game, and I have to say it's awesome. And you haven't lived if you haven't painted deep sky blue on beautiful Union or Confederate pants. That's where the joy is in the game. And let me tell you about this very first cool game. Michael, my friend, after we played a bit of Pillage, somewhere down the line, he wrote me, do you want to try Sharp Practice? And I had seen a friend's Union Force from the Perry minis, and I wanted to paint up some minis. So before I start to buy things, Michael said, let's get a game in. Let's show you around. Do you want to play Sharp Practice? And I knew that Tabletop CP played Sharp Practice. I had peeked into it, but not yet fully embraced it, because I was very happy with Napoleonics and Black Powder. But, and that's the big but, I think Sharp Practice solves a big problem people have with the Black Powder era, and it's this. Because this is like, I don't know, let's say roughly 40 to 50 to maybe 60 guys. That's a force maybe you will field in a bold action game, and that's possible in Sharp Practice. And if you play Black Powder, I would say you need more units than that, and that's always a barrier of entry. And also, this game is not I go, you go. This game is more or less alternating activation, and it's also random alternating activation, because it uses these cards, and then you're using your leaders. Like, let's say this one is your general, and this one is a leader with level 3. This one is assistant, and this is the formation they are in. Then you got your leader number 2, leader number 3 with his formation, leader number 4, 5, and leader 6. And that makes it really cool, because, like, as you can see, you're getting cards, and then you're activating, and you're putting the troops on a table, you're coming from first wave, and so on. So I think Sharp Practice is a pretty good game. It is a bit fluffy, it has a lot of friction, but I loved it. I really loved it. I don't appreciate that much systems that are like chess, because I think if you're playing war games, like, war is pretty messy. So same with 40k, 10th edition, it's pretty cleaned up, it's pretty even, I go, you go, this happens, that happens, and you can argue what you want, but there are no blunders like there are in or friendly fire like there is in bold action. And I think that a game like this can cover it. So let's start at the beginning and let's get into the game. So first of all, no ugly L-shaped terrain. You got beautiful 3D printed churches, a house of God, beautiful trees, a beautiful scenery, a shed, and yeah, we're somewhere in maybe South Carolina, North Virginia. I don't know. But yeah, we're somewhere in America, in the South, and in the United States, and taking a practice mission. And it looks really lovely. And as you can see, Michael did put up a beautiful terrain. But it's not all, like, it just looks good. As you can see, it will, you have here a line of sight blocker, here a line of sight blocker, a bit of terrain, some fences you might want to overcome. And it's pretty even, but it still looks also very organic. And as you can see, this are my troops. And it's the Confederates from 1862 to 1865. And I have a leader, and he is the status 3, that's the guy on a horse. And as you can see, he has 3 groups of 8 infantry with rifled muskets. So right away, a leader has 1 level, and with each level he can do 2 activations. Let's say present the guns, and fire. Or maybe after you fired, you have to reload and present. And if you have a level 2 leader, I think you have 4 actions and 6 actions with a level 3. But sometimes to remove a shock, that costs you maybe just, it costs you 1 action or 2 actions. So we'll get into it, but those are the nuances. And as you can see, everything has rifled muskets, so everything more or less has the same, but that's not at all a hindrance, because it's cool. Like, everybody has more or less the same. But then, as you can see, the combat infantry has a first fire, means it's hitting better, has controlled volley. After the first volley, you can choose a different target. Some people don't have the controlled volley, and once they start shooting, you have to give an order to stop shooting. That's pretty cool. And then, as you can see, a bunch of characteristics. Here we have our skirmishers. They don't have the controlled volley, but they get an extra dice in the movement. And here you got your Confederate artillery, and yeah, then you get some special, how do you call it? Yeah, forget that. Pause the video and read if you want to, but it's not important because you're just getting a vibe of it. And this is the vibe. The vibe is that the game looks pretty beautiful, and again, you can play it with Napoleonics, you can play it with the Last of the Mohicans, which is the French and Indian Wars. You can play it with the Patriot, which is probably American War of Independence. You can play Peninsular Campaign, you can play American Civil War, and it is pretty affordable because the Parry minis are very affordable, the Warlord game minis, and maybe also Victrix, and you don't need that much. Also, for basing, as you can see, I've seen this one on a round base, I've seen this on square bases. The officer usually stands on a 25mm round base, but I have also seen them on square bases and on some dioramas. And as you can see, this is your force. It is like 1 or 2 boxes of Parry minis for roughly 20 to 30 bucks twice. And this one is also called Battle in a Box, which is a pretty nice offering from the Parries, because it gives you, it is a 2-player starter box for roughly 100 bucks, and you can split it with your friend, and you both have 2 artillery pieces, 2 or 3 squads of infantry, you got skirmishers, you got 2 general on horses, and you got fences, and you get a house. Pretty good deal. So all of that is pretty amazing, as you can see here. Let us talk a bit about the basing. Like, you need usually 8, 8 and another 8. As you can see here, we have 2 infantry of 8. Here we have 3 of 8. And Michael based them on 2x2 centimeters. I have seen people basing them on all round bases 20mm to put them on trays. I have seen them based in 25mm without trays. I have seen a lot of things. So it is entirely up to you what floats your boat and what is good. As you can see, the skirmishers are on 20mm and the officer or the NCO is on 25. And as you can see here, so there are a lot of ways to play this game, and maybe it's good. Like, the rulebook costs around 40 to 50 bucks. I wish it was a bit more, a bit cheaper, but the PDF costs roughly 19 to 20 bucks. So maybe you want to get the PDF. But I love having things in my hand, so maybe if I'm staying with this game, I will get myself the rulebook. And then it looks just beautiful. We will come in a second to the gameplay. The flags, they do separate things, but for this game we included them just so it looks cool. Again, this one I propped up in Photoshop, and this one is a bit dark. I should have propped up all the pictures. On that day it was a bit cloudy, so some of the pictures are a bit dark. I'm sorry. But yeah. This is a beautiful artillery piece. Again, parry box and pretty cool stuff. And yeah, let's just look. I think like this one looks amazing, and also like the units. It just looks lived in, great feel. Here you can see he has also our cavalry and more units, so he's totally bought in. And I want to paint a Union force. Here he has also some horses for artillery, and here is the horses dismounted. And now we come to the force morale. So So when the game starts, I think you just roll, and then some random dice, and then some troops you brought, and then you determine what's your force morale. So -10, his is 9. And when you start to lose troops, when your army starts to break, you will lose force morale, and that's not good. I don't know, if you reach 0, you might lose. I have to check on that. And here you get deployment markers, usually 1 or maybe 2. I have seen things do beautiful things. They put here diorama pieces with maybe 3 officers and a flag, and here your troops enter from your deployment point. And your deployment point can also be captured, if I'm right, and then you would lose force morale, and you would also lose the ability to deploy your troops on the map. I play Team Red, Michael plays Team Blue, and yeah, this might be a great game. We will see in a second. So now we start with a set of cards. As you can see, I have the red dice, and I have 5 leader cards in the deck, and Michael has, no wait, I have 6 leaders with a cannon, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Michael has also the same setup, so it's mirrored what we have. We have also the same stats. And let's start the game. So first turn. First activation is a flag. What can you do with a flag? Flags are maybe more or less like command points. You can use this flag, you can use 1 flag, 2 flag, 3 flags, 4 flags for different activations. You can, for example, boost the initiative of your leader, so you can maybe remove shock or add a dice to your melee pool or firing pool, or with enough flags you can activate a unit that has already activated, or maybe you can come on the board, or we'll see, but that's now. Now leader 5 activates. That are my skirmishers, and as you can see, I printed out the cheat sheet. It is 4 pages. I did found it on Script. I will link it down below, and it's a pretty cool cheat sheet. And as you can see, from my deployment point, I'm now deploying skirmish troops, and they can move 12 inches, and so I move 12 inches. Wait, let me see if I'm recording. Yeah, I'm recording. So sometimes 12 inches. I'm deploying them 12 inches. Nothing is within line of sight. I'm the first one entering the map, and I'm just moving up. So now his leader 2 activates, and he brings him in, and then the tiffin card comes, and the tiffin card ends the turn. And that's cool, because not everybody gets the same activations. Like, it could be skewed. It is like bold action, taking a dice out of the bag, but it could be that let's say the red team activates 6 units and the blue team activates just 1, and that's kind of cool. I mean, you gotta deal with that. And at the end of the turn, like, the different card comes, but I have a red flag and he has a blue flag, and if we had units on the table that didn't activate this turn, we could now activate those units. So the flags also help with the tiffin card, but it's always kind of risky because you never know when the turn ends. So a new turn, turn 2, but we stop counting now the turns, but now a lot of flags enter. Now leader 3 enters the game, comes in from here, a level 1 leader with 2 units of 8, as you can see. And then what happens? Another team enters the game. This is his commander with 3 units, but they come in a line, and then Michael and I said, okay man, it's a line here, it's pretty narrow, maybe you come in a marching formation. And then he comes in a marching formation, and later when he wants to get into line, he has to give maybe a special order, or just line them up, and we will see how that works. But yeah, he comes in with his general, the level 3 leader. I come in with my gun. I don't know if I can shoot right away. I think I can, but I'm not sure. And you can present and fire, but maybe it's also no, wait, I think when I unlimber it, it is unloaded, so I need to load it, and loading a gun takes 2 actions. So they are loading the gun, the artillery piece. As you can see, skirmishes enter, another skirmishes enter here, and I think he entered with almost everything. Now he's rolling for movement, and he could run with these guys, but running puts a shock on them. A shock is like a pin. The more shock your troops have, you subtract movement from your unit for each shock you have, and you get less dice for shooting. So shock is not that good. It's like marking exhaustions from the combat. But now he rolls 2 dice for twice. He moves up, but he just walks, like a brisk walk, not running. And so his first action, his second action, so he moves 9 inches, and he moves up to the fences, and there he is standing right now. And as you can see, this is more or less the weapon profiles, and we have all rifled muskets, and they shoot a bit, they have a longer range because they are rifled in the barrel, and so the bullet flies a bit longer. As you can see, rifled muskets have... No, wait a second. We have all muskets. Like we have 24 to 12 to 24 is a long range, and you get you hit better. I think the closer you are, the better you hit. And so I'm firing, I think, with rifled muskets, and they have a long range. And so I'm using my 36 inches to fire at these guys right here. And I'm unloading 6 shots plus the shot of my leader, so 7 shot. Because it's first fire, they are hitting better. And because it's long range, I think I'm hitting a bit worse. And I think I'm hitting on 5s up, and I make 3 wounds. And so now Michael has to allocate that shock, and he puts 1 shock here, and he puts 2 shock here. You will see how that will help your shock management. And on a 6, it's a casualty. Some of those guys die. On a 1 or 2, you're mostly safe. And then it depends if you're in the open area. I think a 3, 4, and 5 is a shock. If you're behind a fence, it's on a 4 up. If you're behind a stone wall, it's, I guess, just a 5 or a 6. Something like that, I would say. And here you can see nothing happens to them because 1, they're clear. So a put of shock on them. And I think a 3 doesn't quite make it. I would have needed a 4. And so he gets 1 shock. So they move 1 inch less now. And when they unload all their guns, like 16 guns, you subtract 1 from that. But usually you take your shock, you halve the shock, and then whatever comes out of that, you subtract that from your shots. And as you can see, we played around, and I had just leader 6 activated, and blue pretty much came onto the board with everything he wanted. The artillery piece must be deployed base to base to the entry point. Again, when it comes in, I think it is unlimbered and unloaded. So this turn he's just loading the gun. And I'm coming in with these guys. And then it's the tiffin card, and this turn is... yeah, it's the end of the turn. And so I think now it's my first turn, and these guys, I think, want to fire. And I get the first fire bonus +1, and I have 2 actions, and 1 action will be present, which means that they take aim, but they present their guns. And then the second action is fire, and I'm sure I'm hitting now on 3 ups. And I roll 10 dice with the artillery piece, and it's just 1 that doesn't hit. And so now Michael has to take all of these dice and spread them and roll for shock. On a 6 it's a casualty, on a 5 it's definitely a shock, 1 or 2 you're clear. And I think because he's behind the fence, it's a 4, but I don't know if the cannon gives you another modifier, but this is what he rolls. So he loses 1 guy, as you can see. He takes off 1 guy right here, and he takes 2 shock, as you can see here. And then he rolls here and gets 3 shock, and now these guys have 6 shock on them. That means, if I'm not mistaken, they move 6 inch slower, and should they shoot, like they're missing 1 man, so it's just 15 shots, and then they have 6 shock. You halve that, so it's -3 shots, so it should be 12 shots. It sounds a bit complicated, but when you're playing it very, very smoothly, like you're just checking a second, and then you're doing what you have to do. So the game flows pretty smoothly. Like, we played roughly 3 to 4 hours and had a blast. Everything was pretty smooth. So these guys are running. Michael's troops, his skirmishers, are running from behind the church. And this guy will trigger a random event in a second. And let me explain that. If you're drawing 3 flags in a row, I think the last unit that activated gets to roll on a table. No, on a, how do you call it? Yeah, you have to roll for. I'm searching for it. Well, you have to roll for a random event, and it has a 2 up to 12, and then good things could happen or bad things could happen. And this guy will hurt his ankle, so the whole team will move 1 inch less, and if you had a combat medic, you could heal it. And as you can see right now, my troops are not yet on the table. I'm still missing these guys, but they're now coming into game. I'm bringing them in, and my big troop is now coming in with my general, so my level 3 leader with potentially 6 actions, and now everything is on the table. For this first game we have no missions, and it's just kill points so far. As you can see, I'm unloading with my rifled muskets, I'm unloading with my cannon, and no, wait a second, this one is unloaded. So if you have, how do you say, yeah, the cotton in front of your unit, that means that they are unloaded and you need to load. So I remove the cotton and I load the gun with 2 actions, and that's pretty cool. So these guys, the enemy skirmishers, are approaching. As you can see, here they are, and yeah, trying to shoot. I think I'm slightly out of reach. I don't know. They should have the same muskets, or maybe it's not hitting. They try to get over the obstacle. Of course, I think you have to check if you can go over obstacles, and because they have so much shock, I think they don't move far. You can also remove some of the shock with your officer. But yeah, he barely makes it over. These guys are going now down. How do you say it? Like on the right flank, because I don't wanna here's my artillery piece and I don't want to close my line of sight. So I'm shooting with my skirmishers at Michael's skirmishers, and again I think I'm hitting on 3 because of first fire. So first fire is really good. Weapon fresh, troops are fresh, there is no fog or dust in the air yet. And here he is his shocks, so he's taking, I think, because they're out in the open, I think they take a shock on a 3-up. Yeah. Or maybe, no, he's shooting at mine, I think. So everything is moving. As you can see, I formed also a marching column because in a line I couldn't move through the obstacles. And so now the battle is kind of unfolding. And it's pretty fun so far. Again, I think this time I fire, it's 10 shots, hitting on, I assume 4s or 5. Not into these guys. No, I'm shooting into these guys. Because they're in marching column, I get +1 to hit. And Michael rolls, and I'm sure I will show the second in a second. Yeah, I get +1 to hit. And he loses 2 guys. Yeah, then my general is trying to form his line, and they were already standing here, and then I moved this one up here. I rolled a 5 or a 6 so they could move without a problem, and these guys rolled just a 1 or a 2 so they couldn't quite make it, and I have to recheck how they form up, how the rules properly work. But as you can see now, not everybody got into line, so only the ones that got into line will shoot. They won't shoot, and you can only shoot not in a 45-degree angle, only in a straight line forward. Like they just shoot forward, not to the side, just straight forward. And I'm unloading my guns because it's first fire. I think I'm hitting on a 4-up. And these are all the shots. It's 16 shots, and I'm unloading into these guys. And Michael will roll in a second, or maybe these ones are already rolled. No, he's rolling again. And as you can see, he rolled 1 6, 1 casualty, 5 is a guaranteed shock, and then 1 or 2 is clear. But because these guys are in the open, I think a 3-up would be also a shock. And now they have 12 shock on them, which is pretty bad. Yeah. And also to the cotton, I would say when I went buying some cotton, I would have liked to buy this one, but I just got this one, and this one just looks bad. So if you are going to buy some cotton for your troops shooting, get this one, not this one. This one looks not very organic. But yeah, sometimes you gotta take what you got. What else? As you can see, I'm approaching here, and now yeah, we're trying to get everything into shooting range. I think I get 16 shots, as you can see here, +1 for the leader, I think, and then hitting on 4s because first fire. I think I'm unloading into these guys. I don't know. No, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't hit them that much. Then I'm unloading with my full line again. I'm loading and firing again into these guys, and they just take more and more casualties, which is not good. And as you can see, as the shock accumulates, they got now 7 shock. And once you have more shock, then you have man. So these ones are also on 8 shock. So if you're equal, that's okay. But if you're above, if the shock is above the man in your units, then things will happen and they start now to retreat. And Michael is also starting to lose force morale, which is not good. And I think I'm loading. Michael is moving forward, and I think he will form these ones now up into a line and shoot. He does, as you can see. And now these guys will unload into my guys in my big blob. And yeah, that's what it's all about, unloading into each other. And looks kind of cool. And Michael also collected 4 flags, and with 4 flags, which is I think the most flags you can collect, with 4 flags he now takes them and activates 1 unit again. So again, it's like command points, as you can see. So he drew 4 flags, I have 1 flag. Not really much you can do with 1, or maybe I'm wrong, but with 4 he just activates them again, reloads and fires and puts another volley into these guys. And then he takes his artillery piece and shoots at my guys down here and fire. And I think they get hit, and as you can see, I lose 2 guys, taking casualties on 6s, and here I get a shock on these guys. And because I did leave this on the table, and I moved them away. I moved them a bit more to the front because I want to get out of the firing arc of the enemy artillery. But I have to still reload them so they can fire. But maybe I want to also charge into the enemy. We will see what I will do with them. So I fire with my gun, hitting on 5s, and it's a pretty healthy volley. Again, having 10 dice, hitting only on 5s up, this is really, really good. And now I'm hitting these guys. And my guys, my general, as you can see, I've suffered a lot of shock. This is now exceeding the shock of this because it's 9 and I have only 7 men here. And we're just pounding each other, putting a lot of shock. And now the units are getting pretty ineffective, I think, because now you cannot move forward the way you want. You cannot unload as many shots as you want onto the enemy. You can clear some of the shock with your commander or general, and that's what we're doing. But again, now the game is in a state where everything is kind of getting crippled. These guys are still fleeing. Michael is losing more force morale, and well, maybe now is the time to finish the game. And I think from this point on, we're realizing that we had a pretty cool game, and that now things are going south, and who's gonna win? I'm trying to charge. I'm rolling with 3 dices, and trying to get, I don't know, 12 inches. But I roll poorly, so they stop in front of the fence, which is not good. These guys continue to flee. So they are deserting the battlefield. Michael constantly losing force morale, which is not good. And yeah, let me see. As you can see here, his troops whittled down pretty badly. My formation will be broken also in a second. Artillery pieces performed very, very well. They are really good, but they didn't feel too strong because, like, most of the time you have in one turn you have to load them, so they are shooting just every other turn, which makes them strong but not too strong, and it's really cool. Again, trying to get into melee, with these, but I can't. And now, as you can see, this formation is getting broken, and I'm retreating 2 inches because I have 6 or 7 men, and now I have to excess shock. I have to retreat 1 inch, and now the formation is kind of broken. So this one is broken off, and because my NCO is here, I can take these guys without a shock and just move them up the field and work with them independently. So that's also a cool thing. You can also break up formations. I think Michael goes into hand-to-hand combat, and hand-to-hand combat, I think, works like this. You're killing the enemy on 5s and 6s, and everything below that is nothing, and then you roll against each other. I kind of like it. As you can see, I roll nothing of good. Michael kills 3 dudes. and then you get also this one as shock. And so I lose 3 guys, and I gain too much shock, and because I'm over the shock, I have more shock than men, they now start to run, and as you can see they run a lot, 12 inches, and they probably will continue running. And now I'm also losing force morale. These guys who split off went into the cornfields trying to shoot the skirmishers. I think they take a wound off. The enemy skirmishers down in the bottom flank, they shoot at these guys. They are also about to break in a second. And then we all start to lose force morale, fleeing troops, and yeah, kinda we're coming to an end. But it was a very cool first game. I don't know if there is one who really wins, because I finish at force morale 2 and Michael has force morale 1. So we just call it a day, GG. It was a cool first game. Maybe a training game for me, for my Confederates, but I will start to build the Union. And I have to say, short practice is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to play another game. As you can see, I got myself a black powder British regiment. In the Warlord game 1, you get 30 plastic minis for roughly 20 bucks. You get 24 woodland Indians, and this is how they look. And with these ones, I will play the Last of the Mohicans. So French and Indian wars with this one. And with these ones you can also play the French and Indian wars, but you can also use them for the American War of Independence. So very flexible. You can also use this one for the American War of Independence, and you just need some American forces, and you can go the Warlord route, which is pretty affordable and cool. These are Wargames Foundry minis, but I think they are really beautiful. Or you can go the Perry mini route, which would be, I think, 38 minis in a box. So you get plenty of minis that are beautiful for a very good price. And then again, you can put them on 20mm bases, you can put them on square bases, you can put them on 25mm round bases, you can put them on whatever. I guess we'll figure it out together. And we see us in the next game. And yeah, have a nice day. See ya.